So WrestleMania 34 is in the books. It's time to look at all the matches and everything that went down at the show of shows, WrestleMania. Now, all in all, I'd say this was a pretty good show. Was it maybe lacking something? Yes, maybe it was. Was it a bit too long? Yes, I think so. 5 hours, a bit long. If they could cut these things to 4 hours, keep it to 4 hours, I think they'd be on a winner there. It just drags on a bit too long, and by the time you get to the end matches, the crowd's just not in it as much. They did throw the odd short match in there, which always helps on a long show like this, but I think if they could cut it down to 4 hours, they'll be on a winner there for WrestleMania, especially when you got the kickoff show in it as well. So let's quickly look at those results from that kickoff show. We had Matt Hardy winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We had Cedric Alexandre, he was crowned the new WWE Cruiserweight Champion, winning the tournament final there. And also Naomi, she won the first ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. Now on to the main show. So looking at some of the matches of the night, definitely the mixed tag match was a highlight with Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle taking on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, a real highlight there. Also the opener with Rollins, Balor and The Miz for the Intercontinental title, good match up there. And of course the women's match as well, with Asuka taking on Charlotte for the Women's Smackdown title, another highlight of the night. So first up it was the triple threat match for the Intercontinental title, held by The Miz. He was taking on challengers Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Now there was some good high flying in this match by Seth Rollins. It was a pretty good matchup, a good way to start off the show. We had some high flying thrown in there by Seth Rollins with some cool pin breakups. And it was Seth who took out the match with a curb stomp to The Miz. Now, I had Finn Balor in this one, but really it could have gone to anyone. I think it's good that Seth got the win. He is now a Grand Slam champion, Grand Slam Rollins as he calls himself. And he deserves it. He's a good performer. His singles run has been halted in recent times, you could say, and he really is a great singles performer. So we'll see how he goes with his Intercontinental title. But a good matchup to start off the show there. So next up it was the undefeated Asuka taking on Charlotte for the WWE Women's Smackdown title. Now this was a really good match, one of the matches of the night. We had some cool maneuvers in this match with both ladies pulling off some awesome moves. We had Charlotte pulling off some near falls and a huge spear mid-match to Asuka. That was awesome. And in the end it was Charlotte winning with the figure 8 and she tapped out Asuka. Good match up there. And the next match for the US title was champion Randy Orton. He was defending against Bobby Roode, Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Now nothing too much to write home about in this matchup. Very standard match. Didn't go on for too long, which was good because there wasn't much happening here at all. We had Orton throwing out RKOs everywhere at one point there, but it was Jinder Mahal who won with the Colossus, pinning Rusev. As I say, pretty standard sort of matchup. But we'll move on now to one of the matches of the night, if not the match of the night. It was Ronda Rousey in her WWE debut with Kurt Angle. They took on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. So Triple H and Stephanie, they had a pretty cool entrance with the motorbikes there. Thought that was pretty cool. And it was pretty cool to see Kurt Angle back in there as well. I thought he did pretty good. So we had Steph going in there with a lot of cheap shots on Ronda Rousey near the beginning of the match, getting away with what she could, really building up the heat between the two. But when Rousey finally got in there, she came out with fire, taking it all out on Stephanie. It was a really awesome sight to see. Stephanie would fight back and she held her own in this match. She did good. And we had Ronda Rousey going one-on-one with Triple H there at one stage of the match, backing him into the corner, throwing lefts and rights. It was pretty hardcore. She went hard out on Triple H. But in the end, after a lot of back and forth, it was Ronda Rousey who made Stephanie McMahon tap out. But it was a really good showing from Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey in her debut matchup. Be interesting to see what she comes out with in her future matches. And this was a really enjoyable match. Really cool matchup. And next up it was a match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It was New Day taking on the Bludgeon Brothers versus the champs, the Usos. Pretty short matchup here. Bludgeon Brothers dominated the whole match and they won the titles. So again, nothing much to write home about here. A short matchup was what it was. Bludgeon Brothers dominated from start to end, and that's all you can really say about that. But we'll see how these guys go. They've made a pretty good impact on the scene so far, and now they've got the belts. it can only be uphill from there for them. Okay, John Cena versus The Undertaker now. This was kind of random. We had Cena sitting in the crowd for the beginning of the show, and I believe it was after the Asuka Charlotte match where a ref ran up to him and said, he's here, or whatever, like The Undertaker's here. So Cena ran off backstage to get ready for his match or whatever. And then so we come to the match up here. Cena is all ready for the fight. The lights go out. Everyone thinks it's The Undertaker, but Elias comes out with his guitar, and Cena just totally beats down Elias, and that's over within a couple of minutes. And then so the lights go out again, and The Undertaker does come out, and the match turns out to be a total squash match, a really short matchup. It was over in a few short minutes. Taker started off with a hiss and a roar. Cena got a tiny bit of offense in. The Undertaker sat up at one point during the match. Cena craps himself, and Taker basically chokeslams him and tombstones him for the victory. And it was over, as I say, in a few short minutes. Very one-sided. The Undertaker didn't have to do much at all. It was really random. He just totally buried John Cena. This could have been so much better. I don't know what to make of it. Will The Undertaker be back? I don't know. This was kind of weird. It was good in a way, but I mean, The Undertaker won. That was cool. Yeah, so it was what it was, I guess. And we'll just have to see how it goes with regards to The Undertaker and his future in the WWE. Will he be fighting again or not? We'll just have to see. So following the Cena-Taker match, we had Daniel Bryan. He was making his in-ring return, his long-awaited in-ring return. He was partnering with Shane McMahon, and they took on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who had been giving the two Smackdown general managers crap for weeks. Now, Daniel Bryan was taken out straight away with a powerbomb to the apron. He didn't even get in the match. And I don't really think this was a good move. It took the crowd right out of it. They were sucked right out of the match, and you really wanted to see Daniel Bryan get in there and wrestle, and he was just taken out right from the start. You didn't even know if he was going to get back in the match, although he was laying at ringside in the stretcher for so long, and they never took him out, so you figured he was going to get back in at some point, but it really did take the buzz off it, having him be gone straight away like that. So it just turned out to be a 2-on-1 handicap match to start things off, and Shane did well. He got beat up a bit, but he fought back a bit, but it was what it was. But Daniel Bryan eventually did come back in. He put on a good showing in the match, and he got Sami Zayn to tap out in the yes lock. So it probably would have been better to have Daniel Bryan just be in the whole match from the start up. Kind of took off that buzz for the start of the match, but in the end it was okay. Kind of thought maybe we could have had Shane McMahon turning on Daniel Bryan with all the conflicts they've had as general managers, but it didn't happen. Not in this match anyway, but we did get that from Shinsuke Nakamura later on in the show, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So next up was the Raw Women's title. It was champion Alexa Bliss. She was taking on Nia Jax. Now these two had had a heated rivalry for a few weeks, with Bliss turning her back on Nia Jax, making fun of her. So this was a pretty standard sort of matchup. We had Jax taking out Mickie James at the start of the match, absolutely pounding her into oblivion, getting her out of the match. So it was one-on-one. As I say, pretty standard sort of matchup here. We had Nia Jax winning with a huge Samoan drop off the second rope, and she became the new Raw Women's Champion, and we'll see how this feud goes continuing on into the future. Okay, the big one, the WWE Championship. It was champion AJ Styles taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. So we had an impressive intro for Nakamura. He had the electric guitar and everything going off there, so that was well done. Definitely some good wrestling in this match, but not as fast-paced as I was hoping it would be, or as I thought it would be. Not quite the 5-star matchup as everyone was hoping. It was kind of a more slower, deliberate pace, you might say, but, you know, it was a good match for what it was, but definitely not a show stealer that we all thought it could be. So we had Styles. He ended up winning in the Styles Clash. It was a pretty cool finish to the match. And then Nakamura got on his knees, and he was offering AJ Styles the WWE title. And the crowd was all getting into it, cheering and everything like that. And you thought, wow, what a moment, real WrestleMania moment here. But then Nakamura surprised everyone, hitting AJ Styles with a low blow, and he kicked the absolute shit out of him. He had AJ down and he was just booting him every which way you can, non-stop. And then he would hit AJ with a knee to face outside of the ring. Now this was really surprising, but I think for his character, it's definitely good for him to go heel because he had become really stale in the previous months. And I think it's definitely a good thing for Shinsuke and his character to turn heel. So these guys are obviously going to continue their feud down the line, and I think they're going to have some good matches to come. And AJ's definitely going to want some retribution for Shinsuke turning on him like that. Good to see AJ Styles get the win here and carry on as a strong WWE champion. Okay, then we had the match for the Raw Tag Team titles. It was the Bar, the champs. They were taking on Braun Strowman and his mystery partner. Now, who would be his mystery partner? Nobody knew. We thought maybe it could be Samoa Joe or Big Cass, but it didn't turn out to be that at all. Instead, he picks out a kid from the crowd, a young boy. His name was Nicholas, and he stood in Braun's corner as Braun basically took on the Bar by himself in a 2-on-1 match. So the kid just pretty much stood on the apron during the whole match, overwhelmed as you would be, as anyone would be in that situation. And he just watched as Braun took on the Bar by himself. Although he was tagged into the match at one point, he tagged straight out and Braun went out, took out the Bar, and we had new tag team champs, Braun Strowman and the kid, Nicholas. So whether Braun goes on now and picks a new tag partner for himself, we'll have to see exactly how that plays out. But on now to the main event, the Universal Championship, held by Brock Lesnar going in. He was taking on challenger Roman Reigns. Now maybe I'll have to go back and watch this match, but it certainly wasn't all it was cracked up to be. The WrestleMania 31 match really did crap over this match by a country mile. That WrestleMania 31 match between these two was really awesome. This one did definitely not live up to it. Even though Roman got colour late in the match, it wasn't enough to bring this one back. We even had a few chants of boring coming into it 3/4 of the way through. And just dead silence, really. I mean, can't Brock Lesnar do any more moves than the F5? He hit him with about 1 million F5s. Can't he go up to the top rope and do a top rope suplex or do some other moves? Anything. It was just F5 after F5, and the crowd wasn't buying it. They were dead silent. It was just nothing. The match was pretty much dead. As I say, I may have to go back and watch it to get something out of it, but yeah, it was not all it could be, that's for sure. We had Reigns hitting Brock with 2 spears in the matchup. Brock would kick out, and then Reigns would survive 3 F5s from Brock, only to be put through the announce table for the 4th F5. Brock then grabbed Roman by the scruff of his neck, threw him into the ring for a 5th F5, and Roman just kept kicking out, but the crowd was just dead. They just weren't responding at all. Roman would come back and hit Brock with 2 more spears, but Brock would kick out, and then Brock would finish the match off with an F5. This wasn't the result a lot of us were expecting, wasn't the result I was expecting. I had Roman in this match. I thought he would get the match up after being defeated by Brock at WrestleMania 31. As I say, the crowd was not really into it, and this matchup really just lacked a certain something. I was watching it and I was thinking there, if they had Braun in this match and it was a triple threat matchup, that probably would have been a lot better. Probably would have been much better, actually. But I mean, what happens now with the Universal Championship? I mean, we haven't had that on Raw for the past year. Raw needs that title. The WWE needs that title to be on TV every week. The show misses it. You need to have your Universal Champion on TV all the time. And Brock is not there hardly ever. I mean, you barely even see the Universal title. So what happens next? It's going to be really interesting. Thought Roman would have got the win here and become the Universal Champion. I think he deserves it at this stage. He's come under a lot of flack. Again, he got the tar beaten out of him last night at WrestleMania. And I think he could have done a pretty good job as the Universal Champion. He cut some good promos right there before WrestleMania 34 against Brock, saying how he wasn't turning up and stuff. Roman put on a good show with the mic there. And Brock's just not there, so you might as well give the title to Roman. I think he'll do a good job with it. Give the belt to him, see how he goes. They've been building up for it for so long. Really a big surprise that he didn't get the win last night. At least he could have represented and had the belt on Raw every week, and you would have seen the Universal title. So a bit of a surprise here. We'll just have to see what they come up with. So there we go, guys. There's my review of WrestleMania 34. Was it the perfect show? No. Was it utter crap? No way. It wasn't. It was okay. It was pretty good. Maybe the length of it dragged it down a bit. Cut these shows back to 4 hours. Make your WrestleManias 4 hours. I think max would definitely help out a lot. I'm going to come in at somewhere around about a 7 out of 10 for this. But some good moments on the show. Some good matches, no doubt about that. I'd say probably on a par somewhere with WrestleMania 33. Some really good moments on the show, no doubt about it. But probably just lacked a certain something. Something you can't quite put your finger on. Just wasn't quite there. But definitely a pass mark. And there are a few matches on there definitely worth going back and rewatching, no doubt about it. And just want to say a quick thank you to all the new subscribers who have joined the channel. Hope you are enjoying the content. And to all of you who have been there from the start, thank you for your continued support of the videos and the channel. Really do appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the review, guys. Stay tuned to Stinger Wild for more wrestling action, and we'll catch you next time.